and heal from intergenerational trauma. I am your host, Kai Marie. To find out more information about the topics discussed today, visit kaimarie.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Healing Element Podcast. I am your host, Kai Marie. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Our topic today is Reclaim Your Health Through Healthy Living. This is episode 17 of season 2. I have my special guest today, Valencia Renae, and she is a health coach, and she's going to be talking to us, or actually sharing with us her story of how she was able to make some changes in her life that had a major impact on her overall well-being. Valencia, welcome to the Healing Element Podcast. I'm so happy to have you, and I look forward to our conversation today.
Oh, thank you, Kai Marie, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So I am going to read your bio just so our listeners today have a little bit of background about you, and we will go from there. I already see a comment. Let's see. Oh, I'll put this up here. Okay, so Valencia Renae, she has almost 30 years in corporate America as an IT professional with advanced degrees in both business and secondary education. Her life took a sudden turn about 5 years ago when she was diagnosed with 3 autoimmune conditions within the span of 6 months. Unhappy with the cocktail of pharmaceuticals she had to take that were not fully helping her condition, she decided to find a better way, going back to old school ancient methods of healing. Today, Valencia is pharmaceutical drug free and has sustained her health for years now. After being told by 6 specialists from some of the world's finest hospitals that she would just need to accept her condition, Valencia knew intuitively that there had to be a better way, and she had to figure out the path herself. Once she figured out a way, she began to heal, and she was so elated that she couldn't keep the secret and began to increase her knowledge through nutrition and yoga schools and later herbal programs. When she learned through her formal education is that she had learned so much of this on her own through her own personal journey, and the formal schooling was more confirmation that she was on the right path. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So I want to say how we met on Instagram. I saw your Instagram page, and we'll make sure that we put that it is in the description of the episode, but we'll also make sure we put it in the comment section as well. And I was just blown away by the information that you were providing. And I thought it was just extremely helpful. And I thought that this would be great information to share. And then after we had a dialogue, I was like, yes, I'd be honored to have you on the podcast. So I'm happy that all worked out. So today, as I said, Valencia Renae, she's a holistic coach and therapeutic yoga teacher, and she uses a holistic approach to treat her rheumatoid arthritis. She has been able to successfully manage the condition without the use of pharmaceuticals, and she empowers her clients by showing them how to manage their chronic illness through healthy living. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So those of you that are listening, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment box. And then I'll make sure that we bring those up so we can have that discussion. Also, please make sure you like this video, make sure you share and spread this important information, especially if everything going on right now in our world. We definitely want to learn and share with others different ways that we can begin to heal. So again, Valencia, welcome you to the program. And I would love to start off with you telling us a little bit about your personal journey.
Sure. So about 5 years or so ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. It was sudden. I guess there were signs that I had it before, but I didn't know about those at the time. I just, didn't think anything of it. So about 5 years ago, basically I woke up one morning and I couldn't move without excruciating pain.
You have a little stall here because of internet connection. I don't know if that's coming through for you guys that are watching, but we'll be right back up. Okay, there we go.
Okay, we're back.
We're back, yep.
Okay. So I was diagnosed suddenly with rheumatoid arthritis, and I initially was diagnosed by my internal medicine doctor. And then, of course, he sent me to a specialist, which was a rheumatologist. And basically, it was one of the worst cases they had ever seen. And I lived in Chicago at the time, so I was, had access to some of the best hospitals in the world. And so with the diagnosis of it was the worst case they had ever seen, they gave me a prognosis that I just didn't like. So they said within 5 years, potentially I'd be in a wheelchair, definitely on disability, unable to work. I would have to change my lifestyle. So from the first one that told me that, I just immediately went, I can't hear that. I can't hear that. So I went to another one and another one and another one until I got to 6. And I kept trying to find the best. He's got to be the best. I wanted ones that had, all the bells and whistles.
I think we'll be back on. There we go.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I don't know. So for those that are watching, drop in the comments. It could just be cutting off on my end, but if those that are watching, please let me know if it's happening to you where it freezes and then kind of comes back on. So just so that I know, because if it's just me, then I'm not going to say anything. Okay, sorry about that. So please continue, Valencia.
Okay. And so then by the time I got to the 6th one, it was the same thing. They all pretty much concurred. It was one of the worst cases they had ever seen. And I just needed to accept this. And I just felt like that something had to be missing. It was just something in my gut telling me that this wasn't it. I was too young and there was no way I was going to be in a wheelchair in 5 years. If anybody knows me, they know how active I am and I'm always going. I'm like energy on steroids. So that prognosis just did not sit well with me. So I just, I went back to my internal medicine guy and I told him, I said, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out, but I will not be in a wheelchair and I will not be taking all these pills. And he said, okay, sure, Valencia. I said, will you help me get there? And he says, how? I've been going to school. I've studied this. There's no possible way. And so I said, if I figure out a way, will you help me get off the meds? And he's like, you're not even on them yet. Because I already knew that I was going to be on a cocktail. And within 6 months, I was on, over 7 pills. And none, they just kept adding on because nothing really could squash the pain. So if this one would help where the pain was bearable so I could move and not cry all day, then it tore my stomach up. So I always had a worse side effect for something helping me. So then they would give me something for the stomach and then something for the headaches that was being caused by the 3rd pill or 2nd pill. And so all of that just really frustrated me. So then I decided I've got to figure this out. So I went to the internet, I went to the old school library, and then I decided I needed a team. I needed to create a team for me that specialized in the parts of the body that I thought was causing this. And at that point, I knew nothing. So I got a naturopath because I wanted to do it natural. I've always felt that everything is right here on this earth that we need. We just need to educate ourselves on how to utilize it. And I also am a firm believer that the body can heal itself if you work with it. So I got a naturopath, and of course I interviewed her to make sure that we were on the same path, that she would be a naturopath that understood that I want to do this holistically. So don't keep dumping more pills on me was pretty much where I was going with that. And then I went to a acupuncturist because the pain was unbearable. And there were weeks I was in the acupuncture 5 times in a week. So I could go to work. And I would lay there with pins all over my body, but it helped. And then the time grew where I was there, once a week. And then I was, once every 2 weeks and then once a month or whatever. And then I had an acupuncturist, I had a naturopath, and then I had a masseuse. So the naturopath, the acupuncturist thought that I needed someone to loosen my muscles up and to, reduce the buildup of lactic acid and all that other stuff. And so I got a masseuse, and I went to her every 2 weeks. And most people would say, well, that's a lot of money. But I also know what I was paying in medication. And to me, it was worth the money for holistic that was looking for a root cause to stop this thing, rather than pay the medication that will continue to grow, because it was helping not only my original condition, but all these side effect things now that I now was coming up with. So I got this team together, and like I said, I interviewed them all. I wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. I was already in yoga. I just pumped it up a bit and decided to become a yoga instructor because I realized that my mobility was getting better. I was getting back to, I was a runner before. I used to run 5 miles a day after work with, some ladies in the neighborhood. Couldn't do any of that. And I was hell bent on running the next 5K. So I had a lot of work to do. So I got these, my team together. I went to them, I listened to them, I gave them feedback. I tracked everything. I tracked everything I ate. I tracked my sleeping patterns. I tracked how much I went to the restroom, everything, because I fed this information to them. One thing I forgot to tell you is that my acupuncturist was from China, and in China, he had gone to endocrinology school. So he was all about hormones. So obviously I was a pincushion, and they were testing me for everything. And so he would read the hormone section of my test. I would bring that in. So I had a really good, thorough team in place. And that's what helped me, because within 6 months, I don't know if your listeners know this, but once you have one autoimmune disease, and rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease, you are more likely to get 2 or 3 in a short period of time. So within 6 months, I was diagnosed with 3. I had the rheumatoid arthritis. A couple of months later, I got Raynaud's syndrome, which is a circulatory issue that affects your digits, so your toes and your fingers. Some people lose them because the blood just doesn't flow all the way down anymore. So that was number 2. Then number 3 became my thyroid. So at this point inside, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, I've got to figure this out, because I'm just getting pill after pill. And so I was on I don't quote me, 7 or 8 for the rheumatoid. Then I got some for the Raynaud to help with the circulation. Then I got some for the thyroid. And it got to the point that I was like, am I eating or just taking pills? And that really just bothered me to the core. And so I'm working with my doctors. So we start focusing on the root cause of each one, and we start treating them. And then I started to feel better. And the moment I started to feel better, I'm like, can I stop the pills? And all the doctors are, even my naturopath, she's like, no, we have to heal the body. The body doesn't heal. I'm glad you feel better. So it took time. But when I finally got off, I was like, people just need to know. This is like the best kept secret. People need to know your body can heal, and you can heal it. You've just got to feed it. You've got to listen to it. You've got to love it. We got one. And so to me, it was just worth putting everything I had into it. And now I live like everybody else. I know what I can eat. I know what I can do. I'm not on any drugs. If I want to go run, I can run, and most people don't even know my age. And that's the way it should be, because I listen to my body, and I'm very, very conscious about what I put in it. And that's everything, drinking, food. And it's important to me because of how I feel. I'm not complaining that I'm feeling this way or that way. It's because I take the time to nourish my body. I eat what feeds me and not what kills me. A lot of people have an issue with, well, but I've always eaten this and I love the way this tastes. But if it's hurting you, maybe rethink that. And so I just like my energy, and I like how I feel. So that was the catalyst for me. And might I say, I called my internal medicine doctor back once I was off the pills, and I've called him every 6 months since, because he says a relapse is coming. And when I moved to the Southwest, I had a hard time finding a rheumatoid arthritis because they would take my blood work and tell me that I can't possibly have RA because my numbers look normal. So I went through 3 before somebody says, okay, I'll see you once a year, but I think you had something else. So my immune system has back in check, obviously, because they can't detect it. I gave them my old records. I'm like, here you go. I'm not making this up, year after year after year. So you can heal your body. And so RA is a tough one. And I've seen it done with diabetes. I've worked with people with diabetes. I've seen people with MS. So if you're willing to do the work, it's not easy, but it's so well worth it.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, because I think hearing your story really brings it home that this is possible, right? It's different than reading it online or seeing an article, but actually hearing someone tell their story is so moving and so powerful to know that this is possible. You know, you don't have to just take what the doctors are telling you as that's it. This is your sentence. And so you being able to say, no, this, I know I'm getting this report, but this isn't the end all be all. So I just want to say really quick, I think on my end, for sure on my end, I'm the one having internet issues. So I say that because if there's a delay in me responding to you, Valencia, or something, just know it's because on my end, for some reason, it's freezing. But it comes back. So I just want you guys to know, in case you're wondering, why hasn't I responded yet? It's because on my end, for some reason, the screen is frozen. So I just wanted to say that. So we do have some topics that we're going to jump in, but also anyone who's listening, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. And that way I can present them to Valencia. So we do have one question for you. And that is, what is the basis of your diet?
Okay, I'll give a caveat to this. I've been in nutrition school, so I know all the diets out there: keto, gluten-free, this free, that free. So, but what I did to craft my diet is I listened to my body. So people want to give it a name, and I can't give you a name because it's Valencia's diet. But it's a cross. I'll do my best to explain. So I don't eat dairy. I don't eat meat. I do eat wild caught fish. Now I do eat some animal products. So I wouldn't call me, you see what I mean? You can't call me a vegan. You can't call me a pescatarian. There's no name for it. But I believe bone broth, for example, is very healing to the gut. There's a lot of nutrients you can get from bone broth. So I don't have anything against animals. It just doesn't work for my body, right? So I don't really have a diet that I follow, but those are some things that I keep away. I don't eat gluten, not intentionally anyway. I try not to eat gluten. I try not to eat sugar. My number one beverage is water. I probably drink water most days, with occasional glass of wine here and there. There's water in that. But no, I really watch everything. I have a cup of coffee 3 or 4 days a week. Excuse me. But that's sort of my diet.
And so do you find that when you're working with clients that, I like what you said, because you're putting together what works best for you. So I imagine when you're working with clients is trying to figure out what is it that your body needs, because your ultimate goal is exactly what you had said when we opened up the broadcast today is let's get to the root cause. Right. Because the pills that you're taking, that's only treating the symptoms, but you're working to, okay, you are now my client. I'm working with you. Something's causing your body to react in this way. And we're going to figure out what it is and then how to treat that. So would you say, is that how your approach to when you're working with your clients?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The biggest obstacle with my clients, most of them, because we've been trained this way, they want me to give them a diet. Mm-hmm. And I want them to listen to their body. And so, so I tell them, I said, we might have to pick bits and pieces from each diet to make the diet for Carol or Joe or Pete, right? So it's that process of listening to your body and how things react to it. Do we know we're taking dairy out? We don't know this yet. So usually when I work with people, I like to start with a 30-day cleanse for chronic illnesses. And that one of the reasons being is because when we start to put things back in, that's how we're going to craft your diet.
Mm.
But the cleanse obviously gives me a clean slate. So I know I've gotten all the gunk out. Now we're starting from ground zero. So if we put something back in, we're going to get a true reaction, probably, closer to a true reaction if you're allergic to, let's say, dairy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much how I do. I would say that's my model for anybody.
Right. Yeah, so important. Another thing is that you had mentioned, as far as the treatment plan that you created for yourself, was that you were taking care of mind, body, spirit.
Yes.
Right. And can you talk to us a little bit also about your approach to that? Because I think that's so important. Besides, obviously I do the Healing Element podcast that talks about how to stop cycles of pain and trauma. But the other part of that is living a holistic lifestyle and caring for all parts of the body. So how important was that for you as you began to make changes in your life?
I would say it's as important as the nutrition part, if not more so, because imagine being told you've got 3 autoimmune diseases in a span of 6 months.
Wow.
I needed some work here, right? So going inside, daily meditation. Back then, I meditated twice a day, 20 minutes each time. And then the yoga, just allowing myself to open myself up and go inward. Mm-hmm. It really trains and teaches you how to not just heal your body, but how to react to life. The chaos can be outside of you while you're at peace inside. Mm-hmm. The other big piece of that is meditation, yoga. Those are my things. I mean, you could do Tai Chi, some other form of martial arts, whatever works for you. But that it allowed me not only physically to heal, but mentally to heal. It also, there's a lot of science behind it for reducing inflammation, reducing blood pressure, slowing your heart rate, all that stuff. I think I said blood pressure. So it did a lot that way too. Let's just say I won't go without it. I won't not meditate. I won't not do yoga. That's the foundation of my health. Mm-hmm. And if I have no time for anything else, I'm going to make time for that.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So if you are listening right now and you're enjoying this information, this is information that can literally help save your life. So please make sure that you like this video, share it, subscribe to the podcast, and show your support that way. And also in the description box, you can find Valencia's information, her website, email address, so that way you can also reach out to her directly. So we've laid out how you made this transformational change to your life. When did you start sharing with others your journey, and also this is how I can help? I love how when we were talking about how people started, you started connecting with other people that had their own health issues and giving them different things that they can do. I thought that was beautiful. If you could share with us.
Sure. Well, I've kind of been I don't know, healthy, kind of not healthy, but a person that thinks and talks health all the time. And I brought that into my work life like years before I was diagnosed. And it was always, well, let me just say, so you mentioned that I've been in IT for 30 years. So my first job in IT was a business analyst. Business analysts get down into the weeds. So they are into the details like nobody else. By the end of that project, you are the subject matter expert. And unfortunately, that kind of went over to my life. So that it's been helpful though, because that's why my health was able to turn around, because I was all about figuring this thing out. I would do this at work. I mean, I would literally be in a cube next to someone. I'll tell you one. Before I left home, the company I worked with a guy. He came in white as a ghost. And I'm like, we'll call him Jim. I said, Jim, what's wrong? And he's like, oh, I'm trying to pass a kidney stone. They want me to lay at home. I laid at home all week and I'm tired of laying at home. And I said, so you come to work to be in pain? He's like, but it wasn't bothering me. So that's why I came. So I recommended he talk to a naturopath and to consult with his doctor. And then I recommended a herb for him. I said, so talk to your doctor, ask him about whatever other medication you're on, if this is okay for you to take, and see what he or she thinks, whatever. Well, Jim didn't do any of that. Jim took the herb. And he came in on Monday and he walked straight in my cube and he said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm about to go in a meeting in about 15 minutes. And he says, no, I mean, what are you doing in this line of work? I said, come again, like what? And he said, I passed a stone. You obviously have a greater calling. He says that whole, not the night, that night, but the night after, he was on the bathroom floor the whole night. And he said, I'm like, yeah, your color's back today. You look fine. And so every so often he would come into my office and he says, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't even understand why you're here. You need to just go and pursue this, whatever this is. And that was the switch for me. But I had been doing this, I could tell you numbers of cases where I've helped people with diabetes, or a lady had migraine headaches that she had suffered her whole adult life. And we just started, I'm like, take out high fructose corn syrup, take out gluten, until we figured it out. And she was like, I've been on all these medications. I get all these Botox shots and this and that for this migraine. And, nothing was helping, but she was getting side effects from all these things that she was on. And so I love that. I love, figuring out the roots. So that was like my thing. And it just, depending on where I worked, it kind of got around, and it was something I did, and I got all excited about it. And then finally, I felt pressure that it was time to let corporate go. I felt like God was speaking to me, and it was like everybody kept saying like what Jim said, my fictitious name for him. I don't want to put him on the spot, but was like, you really don't need to be here. You obviously have a gift. And so I started going to all kinds of schools, studied nutrition, got my 500-hour yoga. I wanted everything holistic behind me, started delving more into herbalism and working towards an herbalist cert. And I just kept going. And I love this stuff so much. And I've got no greater fulfillment than helping somebody with the ailment, especially people that have struggled and the doctors told them there's nothing they can do. Because when they open their mind and work with me, it's the best thing. It is the best thing ever to watch someone heal from the inside out and trusting themselves now to get a partner as a doctor. That's huge. Because for years I thought, the doctor, he's been to school, he knows everything. It wasn't until I got sick that I realized what I need in a doctor is a partner. Because this is my body. Nobody's more vested in this body but me. Right? I got a vested interest because I know what I want to do. And if I want to walk 100, run, I've got to take care of it. He doesn't really, or she doesn't really have that kind of interest in my body. So I always have to keep that forefront. But yeah, so that's kind of what it was. And I still help people from old jobs. I just love it. Love it.
And I love what you said about your body. Your body wants to be well, right? Your body wants to see you well. Would you say that your experience with working with different clients who may have a chronic condition, that it has turned into kind of me versus my body? And, and so that whole process of what you were doing is try to get them to change even that mindset of, no, we're going to get you to flow with your body, see what your body needs. Can you talk a little bit about that change in mentality?
Oh, sure. That's a big one in the Western world, because we kind of relinquish our power in that way. And we look at the doctor as the expert, almost so much to some degree. In some cases, we say, the doctor takes some testing and we'll say, well, how am I feeling? And occasionally a doctor will respond, well, I don't know. You tell me how you're feeling. That's how much we've relinquished that we're looking for him to tell us. So what I try to do, I start this early on when I'm working with my clients while we're doing the cleanse, is asking them, what are you feeling? I mean, let's talk about it all. There's nothing off limits. Are you feeling flatulence? Good. How often? What's happening? I mean, because this is what the whole point is, for me to train you to feel your body, right? And I do that even in yoga. When you taking a breath in, I want you to feel how far down it goes past your esophagus. Can you feel it go like into your gut? Can you feel it go into your hip? Can we just close and just imagine when you take that inhale that you're bringing it up from that joint in the hip that's hurting you, And so getting to know your body intimately will allow you to thrive, because you can feel when it's off at the slightest before chronic illness even creeps into the picture. How do you feel when you get 7 hours sleep versus 8 hours sleep? Or the smallest thing of belching. Most of us, I would hazard to guess 90% of us belch and think nothing of it. It's not always carbonation. There can be some unrest going on. Did you just eat something? So that's what I mean. So it's like, that's a pivotal time. And it usually take a few weeks before, I have someone that says, like, it's usually around the time we get ready to put food back in. And they eat that first piece of meat, or if they eat cheese or whatever, and they're like, oh, I have a friend who's probably listening who says he has a love-hate relationship with me. He was one of my clients, because when he worked with me, when he was done, he realized that beef no longer suited him. I'm like, well, sweet pea, it never suited you. You just ignored it. So what I did was, I cleansed the palate, basically. And then when we put things back in slowly, and he learned to listen, like, oh, this doesn't, let me try that again. No, still no. So it's a process, and, it could be a month before I get there with them. It just depends on them and if they let me in.
So true. This is so powerful. If anyone is listening, if you have any questions, again, just drop them in the chat box, so that way we can make sure that we bring them up while we are now live. So in launching your business, and we know that you're doing coaching, can you tell us the different services that you do offer?
So right now, my big service that I'm promoting is the rheumatoid arthritis. But I work with any chronic illness. So that could be diabetes, lupus, MS. I've even done some weight loss. Weight loss, I kind of steer clear of a little bit, unless there's more behind it. Because I don't want to get into a dieting thing. I'm more about your health. I want you to be. Now, is this weight causing your blood pressure to be high or you to be diabetic? Then yeah, we can work on that. I tend to stay away from it just from the sake of losing weight, because I'm about a whole healthy image, not just physical. But yeah, so those are all the things I work with. As a part of those, or ancillary, I guess you can say, is I use yoga. And I teach several different types of yoga. It can be therapeutic, yin. It could be vinyasa, quite a few different types, trauma informed. So we do quite a few of those. If you work with me, yoga will be a part of your plan. I also teach meditation because, like I was saying, I think meditation and yoga was very pivotal for me. It's not that I tell my clients they have to stick with it, but most haven't really tried it, which is a good thing because I get to introduce that. But I mean, it could be Tai Chi, whatever. My goal is to teach them how to learn their body, how to answer it when it calls. Because let's be honest, by the time you've gotten to a chronic illness like rheumatoid arthritis, your body has been talking for a long time and you haven't been listening. So if I can teach you that, if that's all you get out of me, I mean, that's huge. So those are some of the services I'm offering today.
Beautiful. So if you are interested, make sure, and what's your website again, Valencia, that people can go to?
ValenciaRenae.com.
Perfect. Okay. And again, you can find that in the chat box as well. And her beautiful Instagram page, I'm telling you, go to her Instagram. The layout is beautiful. And it also has some wonderful information that you can take advantage of and start applying to your life now. So we talked about how we should start to change our, if you know someone that suffers from a chronic condition, please share this please share right now this episode with that person. It can definitely help them to make some changes in their lives. So Valencia, if someone right now is listening, they have a chronic condition, they say, I've tried everything. What's one small step that they could even take right now to begin to change how they're handling their condition?
For one, I would say change your mindset. Just the sheer fact that they say they've tried everything tells me they haven't. But change your mindset and be open and listen to your body. I guess those would be the things I would say. I mean, there's so much to nutrition. It's really can be like a spider web for people that, because there's so much thrown at you, when you go to the grocery stores, GMO, no GMO, eat no carbs, eat paleo, eat this and do that. So I know that it's all so confusing, but listen to your body. That's what I tell people. Don't listen to all that. Just kind of settle yourself and, come up with some practices where you can go inward, like I said, like meditation or yoga. And then you'll become more familiar with your body and what it's doing and what it's saying to you. Also, the other thing is to find yourself a good health coach or a naturopath. So.
I love what you said about us learning our body and listening to what our body is telling us, because it's so true. Our body is constantly sending us signals that either something's wrong or we got to make some adjustments. Even if you maybe ate something and your stomach's upset and said maybe go take a Tums or something else, instead, your body's saying actually that you shouldn't eat that food, but we just take something to fix the symptom, to say, it's just upset. I just got to take this pill to help fix that situation. So this is a lifestyle, in which you're changing your overall view of your body, what you're eating, and how that makes you feel. So if you could talk even more about I think you said eating to live, even changing that mindset, how has that been with your clients to get them to understand the importance of what they're putting in their body, not just looking at it as I'm hungry, I have to eat something, but really paying attention as to what they're consuming and how it's affecting their overall health?
It's some clients I've used this phrase, if it doesn't feed you, if it doesn't kill you, it doesn't feed you, it kills you. Yeah, if it doesn't feed you, it kills you. So I've used that phrase, and when I use that phrase, that seems to go ping, 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 ping. So like I said that to one of my clients once, and she was like, now she looks at if she's eating food, like she's like, oh, if I want that French fry or whatever, for example, I think, what am I going to get out of this? And I'm like, it's totally denatured. You're getting nothing. And so she says, okay, so that's on the way to killing me. I guess I better drop eating French fries, right? And that seems to be, that phrase alone seems to help some of my most stubborn clients when I tell them that. It's because they say it shifts, it does a shift or something in their head to make them think that. And the other thing is, I guess I want to clarify, because a lot of people think that, okay, I say that, but then life gets boring. I enjoy my food. I love my food. It's not boring. What I have learned is to cook with food that feeds me. So I'm big into I'm an herbalist, so I'm big into the herbs. If I do have digestive upset, I pick a herb that's going to help that. I don't go take Tums or Melanta or Maalox or any of those. I go find a herb that's going to settle that after I tried to figure out what caused it. Because you know me, root cause. But yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing that I say to my clients is to watch what you're putting in your body, because if it's not feeding you, it's killing you. Are you back?
I'm back.
There you go.
There we go. little delay on my end. No, I think that's awesome as far as helping to break that down for people to understand what they're eating, how that impacts them. And hopefully it doesn't seem like I'm jumping around too much, but there's just so many points that you're bringing up that pop into my head. And one, again, what you said in the beginning about when you went back to your doctor to show them your results and they're like, wait, what? Did they even ask, well, what are you doing? So I can tell, my patient about this. Was there any type of conversation about that?
No, to be honest with you, I was expecting that from the internal medicine guy.
Uh-huh.
I thought he would want to study me, because I was open. I was open to sharing everything with him, but no, I don't even know that he's interested in my 6-month reports, but I like to keep him, informed. The only person that follows me closely and now sends me clients is my acupuncturist, who's also the endocrinologist, because he was skeptical that I could get off the drugs too. But we message and text each other now, and he sends people. He's like, I don't know what she does with her diet, but you have to talk to her, because he has other patients that come in with it. But he's the only doctor of all the doctors that keeps up with my progress.
So interesting. And it makes you then think about, and if you take a pharmaceutical drug, I'm not trying to knock that or whatever you're doing, but it does make me think about that relationship with the pharmaceutical drug industry and our doctors, where you have someone that is an example, holistic care works. Here's exactly what I did, and here's something that you can prescribe to your patients, and it works, and they don't have to be on this cocktail of drugs. They actually are taking care of mind, body, spirit.
Right.
Stress can throw your body out of whack. Like some traumatic event can do that. And so the fact that you are bringing the whole body to this, I think it's so important. Yeah. So just kind of looking at the time here, we are starting to wind down a little bit. So I just want to open it up again. If anybody has any questions, please make sure you drop them in the comment section, so that way we can get it in our live discussion tonight. And so, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to make a caveat to your point. I want to add on that. So by no means am I knocking pharmaceuticals, because without taking those, I would not have been able to move. It was that severe. So there is a place for them. I am not knocking them, so I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I just think that for chronic problems, that there may be other alternatives, like in my case. But there was definitely a place, and so I was grateful that they were there for me for the time that I needed them. But they just didn't need to be long term. That's where I draw the line, sort of.
No, that makes perfect sense. And the thing is too, what you're sharing with us is that it does mean that you really have to get in the driver's seat of your body and of your health, and really focus in on what you're putting in your body, what you're doing to your body, to make sure that you can produce the results where you don't have to stay on those type of drugs, even if it's temporary, right? To kind of get you into the process where it's like, okay, I'm starting to make lifestyle changes, so that way I can begin to wean myself off. So I think that's a very good point. So again, if anybody has any questions, drop them in the comments. I love our discussion tonight. I know so many people in my family, and that I know personally, that have a chronic illness. So I'm so happy, Valencia, that you said yes to coming on this platform to share this. Because, you know, I will say this, a lot of times, even in families, you can hear people say, oh, that kind of runs in my family, or everybody has, whatever type of condition. And I think what you have showed us tonight is, no, you can start a cycle of healing within your family.
And, if you don't mind, I'd like to say something to that.
Of course.
Because that's not entirely true. I'll share personally. So in my family, there's diabetes, there's high blood pressure, there's high cholesterol, there's cancer, that. By 40, people get all those things. I'm 51 and I don't have any of them. Here's why they say that those run in families. Because you eat what your mama ate, your mama eats what grandma made, grandma ate what great grandma ate. But if you change those eating habits, because that high blood pressure, probably not eating so good, right? High cholesterol, probably not eating so good. If you make that tweak and change that, guess what? I never register for high cholesterol or high blood pressure, any of that, because I don't eat that way. But science says it runs in my family. I'm not likely to get it because I don't eat that way, because I use food as medicine. I enjoy it. I enjoy how I prepare it. It's a whole experience for me. We have this thing in my house. If somebody cooks, and I tell them, don't go cook if you're not going to cook with love. Because that food is feeding my soul. And so they all laugh and they say, oh, Mama, are you cooking with love? I sure am. And that's why it's so good, because I'm putting all of me in here. But seriously, and I think that's important. But yeah, so don't buy into, I'm just going to have high cholesterol, for example, because, all the men in my family had it, or all the women in my whatever had it. You don't have to. You can make that tweak in your lifestyle and be totally different.
So true. I'm glad that you said that. And it reminds me of this lecturer that I used to listen to all the time. And he was like a historian. And he would always say, you are the captain of your ship. So the life that you want to live, it's up to you to live that out. So I think that goes along exactly what you're saying. Us making those changes to our lifestyle can really have an impact, not only on us, but also on future generations, because our babies are watching what we're doing.
Right.
So if we can show them what we have to do, then that would be great. And then that's the way they're kind of off to that good start already at a young age of knowing what they have to do to take care of their bodies and listen to their bodies as well.
Absolutely.
So as we start to round down our episode tonight, which I absolutely loved having Valencia on, is there anything that you would like to leave with our listeners? And please also include your contact information, your Instagram, or your website and all of that, so that way they can definitely reach out to you.
Okay. Sure. The only thing I would say, I would love to leave with everyone is to take back your health. Own your health. You're in charge. Your health is your results. If you don't like what you're getting from one practitioner, find another one. Your health depends on it. And make sure you kind of interview them to make sure they're in line with what you're looking to do with your health. Partner with them. You're in charge. You don't need education to be in charge of your body. So that's what I would leave with you. I'm very passionate about this. You can find me on my website, which is valenciarenae.com. My Instagram is Valencia Renae Wellness. Facebook, Valencia Renae Wellness. And Pinterest, same. And LinkedIn also. They're all the same. Valencia Renae on everything except Instagram is Valencia Renae Wellness. So thank you.
Wonderful. This is awesome information. Again, please make sure you check out Valencia's website, the services that she offers. If you believe that someone in your family can also benefit, please share the information with her as well. Because you are accepting clients right now.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so make sure after this episode comes to a close, please make sure you go to her website and also Instagram page for some helpful information. So thank you all so much. If anyone doesn't have any other questions, Valencia, if you don't have anything else, then this episode comes to a close. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Again, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the Healing Element podcast, and make sure you check it out also on Instagram at the Healing Element podcast. A lot of posts about creating cycles of healing. That mind, body, spirit connection is so important. So please show your support by going to those sites. If you want to learn more about me and my services, please go to kaimarie.com. So that being said, I hope everyone has a beautiful night, and I will see you next Tuesday, same time for a new episode. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.